Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Monday, April 4th, 2010. This morning I wanted to go through a little bit of test-driven development using SUnitToo. And to do that I wanted to take the example of streaming and file reading that I was using last week, where I had this code where I'm taking a line-by-line file and reading it in and just returning a list of the lines. So we take this code that I ran last week and take and create a small class. So we create a line reader class with a list instance variable and just basically translate that code over into a method, removing the list reference here because it's an instance variable, and just return the list. So I can do something like this, line reader from lines.txt, and we should come up with the same thing. Now that's all fine and good, but in reality what I should be doing is something resembling test-driven development, right? I should have a test to make sure that my code is accurate. So what I'm going to do is derive a new class, and my new class is going to be called line reader tests, and I'm going to subclass it from SUnit.testCase. Now, you might wonder why I know to subclass from there and where that code came from, the test case code. Well, it turns out that over here in the parcel manager, if you go down to testing, you see SUnitToo and SUnitTools. Tools just adds the interface into the refactoring browser that lets you do this in kind of a simple way. SUnitToo is where the basic code infrastructure comes from. So I've loaded those into this image already, but this is where you get them from. Just right click and do the load if they're not there already. Once you've got that, you then just have to come over here and you have to create a test case. So I'm going to add a new protocol called, appropriately enough, testing. And rather than watch me type, I'm going to put in the code here and do a Control S and then explain it. So I'm expecting from lines.txt to receive this. So I'm going to do line reader from lines.txt, save that into red, and then I'm just going to assert that the size of the two things are the same and that the elements of the two things are the same. Now I should probably also do a check to make sure the order is the same, but you get the idea. What I'm doing here is creating a test case, and then once I have the test case I can test it. Now let's shrink this down a little bit so you can see what happened over here in the browser. Down here, this stuff all activated. Now that I've created this test, instead of just running this in a workspace and saying, well, looks like it works fine, I can come over here and hit this button, and sure enough it runs green. So I've got a test, I'm testing my code, and now I can save my package out with the tests embedded, and anybody who loads it can see kind of a basic example of how my code works. So it's kind of pseudo documentation, if you will, because anybody who loads this up can take a look at some real use cases, and it also is some kind of verification that things work. In this case I should probably also create a test resource to create this file first and then maybe destroy it after the test runs, but in general you see what I'm on about here. What you should do is create a test case from the SUnit framework, go ahead and create your test, and then run it and check it. And if this blows up for some reason, then you can go ahead and debug it. So let's break this for a minute. I'm going to change this test to something that's not going to work. So I'm going to change this to contains and we'll run it. And you see here now it's red, and if I go over here I can step into the test, I can do debug tests so I can see where it broke, and you see here it's telling me that it's running the test up there, and here I am in the debugger. I can go down and see what's going on. So I go into my test and I go into the all satisfy, and here I see the contains, and I can see the contains isn't really what I want, and what I really want is include. So I can close this, or I can just go down here to this and change this straight in line here, includes, recompile it, rerun it, then come down here and press the button, and it's all green. So I can do this interactively with the test code that comes with VisualWorks, and I can make sure that everything works fine and include my tests right with my package. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.